I would even say this might be stronger than Gifts, but I'm holding my breath because I love Gifts in Blue White Red. That's usually my go-to engine for Blue White Red. So even the nice thing is even if this brew doesn't work out, I'll go back to Kronos and Kolaghan's Commanding. It runs a small black splash for a few cards. But maybe some of the, like the briberies would transfer right over to this deck. You'd run, somebody said I should try one of bribery at first. I feel like something that could work, I don't know, or gifts, so it's nice to have a lot of different names. Maybe you run a split of bribery sowing salt because it's gifts. Or the card's just so powerful, maybe you do want the 2 of. I think I would try to adopt, I would probably try to adopt the Sphinx's Revelation into this, and I'd probably try to adopt the bribery sideboard plan. I'm not sure about the stroke. I like stroke better than running Pact of Negation though in this deck because it's gonna have to pay full premium, whereas the other deck doesn't have to. 1 of 4 bolt, 2 bolts. Playset of Helix because I was just tired of losing to burn apparently with this version. Wow, that is a lot of Helix. That's probably wrong. But I was tired of losing that matchup. I must have been tired of losing that matchup if I'm going to run 4 main deck Lightning Helix in this thing. It's funny. 1 Terminate. I used to run 1 Dismember. Looks like I cut it. A Cryptic. An Ojitais. Merchant Scroll? No, I don't think this is running Merchant Scroll. I guess you could, because you could put it in Gifts Pile, Stranos. I hadn't thought about a Singleton Merchant Scroll. The list feels rather tight, though, these days. But again, I think that with all the Remand running around, I feel like this strategy is just obsolete now. And I hate to say that because I really, really like Gifts. I like what it used to do. But I played this in the daily the other day, and I played it in the practice room a bunch, and it's just, the problem is Remand, it's just like every time I go for that Rites, if I don't have the Spell Snare, which is why I was running 2, when I didn't have the Spell Snare to back up the Unburial Rites or the Reanimate, I just lost because they just, okay, Remand. Sometimes even just Mana Leak, because that's a lot of mana. That's a lot of mana to reanimate. In some games, you'd have the Kronos or the Iona or the Elish in your hand, and it was awkward. I'm going to miss this deck a lot. I think I'm just kind of shelving it for now until the metagame is less Remand-like. I think that's where the Jeskai Fire actually has an advantage in the meta if I were to compare it to my last Blue-White-Red attempt, which was Gifts. I think some of the cool things about the deck all stem from that we're doing the normal Jeskai, you know, we're doing the normal Blue-White-Red control things. We're doing the same things that deck wants to be doing, except instead of running I don't know, like a 4 of Resto and maybe a 1 to 2 of Kiki, which I'm sure that's also very powerful to also incorporate Splinter Twin basically into your Blue-White-Red deck. I feel like I'm doing all of the things that those decks are doing, and it's about the same amount of card slots. Like Braid of Fire takes up, they usually run, you know, a 3-2 split, or maybe even a 4-2 split of Kiki to Angel. So we've kind of still got this 5 to 6 card package where we've got some cards that really don't work unless they see each other. Was the problem with Gifts, like if the cards didn't see each other, they don't work. Whereas the nice thing about the Kiki Angel Blue-White-Red variant was that if Kiki didn't see Angel, you still could copy. Some people were running Wall of Omens, you could copy Walls, you could copy Snapcasters. If Restoration Angel didn't see the Kiki Jiki, you could bounce Snapcaster for value, you could bounce Wall of Omens for value. And so the deck had some nice synergy there. So like instead of running a whole bunch of Think Twice, they run Walls. So that's like, I guess that's where the deck is different. Like this whole part of the deck is going to be very similar. Like me and that other deck, we're going to share a lot of the same card. Like this package here, if you were to look up a typical Blue-White-Red Kiki-Jiki combo, this 25 cards is going to be very similar. They probably won't run the Logic Knot because they're not as brave as I am. But that third or so of the deck or more is going to be very similar, and then like we're going to differ here a little bit. Like maybe they'll share 1 to 2 Think Twice with us, maybe. But then we're going to be very different decks. The mana base is going to be slightly different. They need to pull off triple red. So one positive that this deck has is I'm not worried about triple red, which is nice. In fact, I'm not even worried about double red anymore since we cut the... That's true. That's very true. Since we cut the Sowing Salts, and the Sowing Salts were a little awkward during that matchup with the Tron player, I'm not going to lie, the red. Now we need a lot less red. That's great. That's very good. The Bribery is going to make it so we don't have any red-red interaction in the deck, other than like Bolt, Snap, Bolt, maybe. So in a nutshell, like this package, let me show you what the typical package, how it shapes up. So they're going to run Wall of Omens, probably 2 to 3. Like it's kind of this package here is what we're playing around with, right? They're going to run Wall. They're going to run, you know, maybe a maximum of 3. I like 2. They're going to run Angel. I like the playset. If I were to build Kiki Angel, I like the playset, and then I like 1 to 2 Kiki Jiki. Now it's looking a little more like what you've seen. We're going to put these in the sidebar. I'm going to show you how the deck kind of curves, and you'll kind of see the differences. They still sometimes run a Sphinx's Rev. So then you get, you know, Kiki Jikis in here. 1 to 2 Kiki Jiki. Boom. There's the deck. You could run more Walls and less Angels. I think a 4-2 split is more correct. Because it already synergizes with the Wall naturally in the Snapcasters. They probably run more Snapcaster than I own. They probably run the playset. So let's curve this version, and this is a very other legitimate way to take blue, white, red. You're basically incorporating the twin combo into the deck, so you're not as pressured to win with the Colonnades and the Snapcaster burn, which quite frankly can be anemic and take a very long time. If you're not skilled with the deck, you won't make it. So I think this deck curves very, very differently. I think it has a very different curve. Yes. I already don't like that it's got way more 5s than it does 3s. That's my first... I'm not trying to hate on the deck, and I'm sure that if you look up somebody else's list, I just threw this together, but... Stroke of Genius. Oh, so that we could use it for the braid? That'd be sweet. So this is fine, because you know what? Instead of them doing shenanigans with Pearl Lake and animating multiple Colonnades in a turn, they're kind of like, okay, this is my primary win con game 1. I'm going to try to combo you. They're going to try to flash in an Angel and then Kiki, with hopefully maybe some Dispel or Spell Snare backup. Okay? Sometimes they do actually run Pact and Negation. Because you just won. You can get away with Pact and Negation. I've seen Twin run Pact. I think more Twin players should run it. I think it's actually very solid. Because it's kind of like, okay, this is going to help me win the counter war that wins me the game anyway, so you don't have to worry about paying for the upkeep cost. Because you're trying to win anyway. I think more Twin players should... Not that I'm trying to make Twin an even better deck than it is. I think more Twin players should run Pacts. Pact and Negation. I think it's very underestimated. Your combo wins immediately... So there's no downside to this card unless you didn't win the counter war. But if you're going to Pact and Negation, you're pretty sure you're winning the counter war. You could try Blue Sun. I could Tyrannos. Well, we had somebody else claim that they were going to throw a Rev my way, Tyrannos. I think we should be patient. We've had 2 people who said they wanted to donate Sphinx's Revs to the stream. I didn't ask for any bribery. I didn't bribe anybody for bribery. But this is how this deck shapes up. I guess you could argue that Think Twice is a lot of the time are going to show up here. You know? You don't actually get the card advantage from Think Twice till you flash it back. So it's kind of maybe curving more like this. I still don't like the curve. But that's Kiki. Okay? I think that Splinter Twin is a more efficient Kiki combo. So I never really enjoyed this package. Like when I think blue, white, red, I feel like I just want to be playing a fair deck. I want I want the win conditions of the deck to just be fair win cons. I want to just beat down with colonnades. I want to burn you. I want to snapcaster you. That's kind of how I'm feeling. Maybe win off of the card advantage of a rev. That's kind of how I feel about the deck. So let's go back to the other 8-card package, right? I'm not trying to hate this. This is just not how I prefer to play blue, white, red. Some people love this. They're like, this is awesome. I got to incorporate a degenerate, very powerful game-winning combo. I'm not trying to knock this package here. I think it's fine. You know, I'm tapping out for Braid. You're tapping out for Wall. Who's to say which is better? Wall draws a card. Braid is to fuel other cards in my hand. This has been time-tested. Braid hasn't. Braid is... I don't think I've ever seen anybody try Braid in a blue-white-red control. I'm not trying to say I'm the first guy. You know, if you think about it, everything's already been thought of. So maybe you do this instead, right? Is it better? Let's find out. We're going to curve differently. Like, that deck doesn't work anyway unless they see the Angel, right? So let's think of Angel as the Braid, right? Without Angel, the deck's really not doing what it needs to be doing. And then the Spice is just the Kikis and the walls. Whereas with us, the Spice, the engine is Braid, whereas their engine is Restoration. And our Spice is Pearl Link, Fury. There's a couple more differences. Hold up. What was the other differences? Oh, we went heavier on Think Twice than they do. That's right. We go heavier on the Think Twices. Because they work so beautifully with the braids, and they work even without braids. And I'm still really quite taken with the Think Twices in this variant. So yeah, their Spice is 2 Kikis, my Spice is an Aurelia's and a Pearl Lake. I think to each his own. I think they're still powerful. In some cases, maybe more powerful than Kiki on his own. No offense to Kiki, if he doesn't have a card to go with him, he doesn't do anything. These guys stand just fine alone. They'll even technically work without the Braid. Whereas I feel like Kiki, if there's no Wall of Omens or Snapcaster to go with him, he feels very weak. I would argue. So maybe the Braid of Fire variant has that advantage at least. The cards can stand on their own without the Braid of Fire, but with the Braid of Fire we get to move everything up. We get to move the Helixes up, we get to move the Bolts up, we get to move the Snapcasters up if we need to. You get to move the Aurelia's Fury up, you get to move the Pearl Lake up. Rev becomes a 3. Banefire is not an instant, Capolo. You'd need to run something bad like we were running before. We were trying the, what was it called? Mana? Oh, what was that artifact we just bought today because we were trying it? It's the thing, it's like it's the one that lets you store the Braid mana. Oh, what was the name of that? It was fun. For what it's worth, it was fun for a game. It ultimately didn't win the game though. It ultimately didn't win the match. What's the name of that card? I'll find it. I still really think Disdainful is underestimated in the modern metagame. Counters Splinter Twin, Scape Shift, Cryptic Command, Taziger, Gurmag Angler, Restoration Angel. There's a few more I'm not thinking of. Oh, Tron, like all of the Tron cards. Worm Coil, it counters Karn. This card's been really spiced, but I decided to cut it in lieu of some other cards. I really like it though. I think it's underestimated. 2 mana to counter a whole bunch of... What's up, Yozis? What the heck is the name of the card I'm thinking of, guys? Gemstone Array. So we were testing a gemstone. Maybe until we get the Sphinxes I could continue showing you the gemstone. I don't think it's good. I think the problem is it has the same problem I have with kind of like Keranos or other Planeswalkers I used to be running in blue, white, red. Tapping out means you die in Modern sometimes. How do we fare against black-green variants? Yos. Game 1, we are disadvantaged. Game 2, I feel better. And the reason I say that is because you don't need the Braid of Fire. They'll likely Abrupt Decay it. Well, Yozis, though, I've designed the deck to work without the braid. Basically, we're just going to play them... Like, the rest of the deck's going to play just fine, Yoz.